Okay, so next we need to install Express, Body Parser, and Nodemon, all of which are going to help us set up our routes and be more efficient in editing our application. So first, let's get rid of this console log. And we're going to open up our terminal and do npm install. We're going to save this as a dependency. We're going to add Express and Body Parser. Now we need to install globally Nodemon, and Nodemon is going to watch our files for us and restart our application whenever we save our index.js file or some other JS files that we work in. So now let's go in our index.js file, our application file. We're going to add Express by requiring Express. Then let's also add in Body Parser. We're going to require Body Parser. Then we're going to initialize and actually start Express by adding in app, and we'll run Express. Now, a critical part of any API is being able to take in data so that when a form is submitted or we're trying to send JSON to our API, it can actually take in that data and parse out the different variables that are being sent. And that's exactly what Body Parser is going to help us do. So let's go down and tell our application to use Body Parser to take any form data that's submitted and pass it along so that we can use it in our code. And we're also going to tell it to use Body Parser to take in any JSON and pass it along as well. So now we'll be able to access any data that is passed along through a form submission or passed to us through JSON. We need to be able to access our API either locally or on the web, and so we need it to run on a port. So we will tell our app to listen and run on port 3000. Now we have access to our API either locally or on the web through a URL, but you may want to change the port depending on what environment you're running in. So let's open up our config file and let's just get rid of our greeting. We'll change that to port, and in development, we'll put port 3000, take it out, make it numeric instead of a string. Then here in production, our port, we're going to run on 4000. So let's save that. And here in our index.js file, we'll just change it to listen to config port. And now when we run in development, it'll listen on port 3000. We run in production, it will run on port 4000. So let's set up a quick test for us to see if our application is running properly. Let's go down and we're going to do app get. And so it's going to be a GET request that we can make to our API. So the first argument is going to be a string, and it's going to be the URL that you can use to hit this endpoint. So we're just going to set it to the base URL there. And the second argument is going to be a function. It's going to take a request and a response. And this function is going to determine what happens when this endpoint is hit. So to test this out, let's just send along. We're going to do response.json. We're going to send a little JSON message. So if we save this and in our terminal, let's run node index.js. So our application is now running. Now let's open up Chrome and let's just go to localhost. And since we didn't set an environment, it is going to be using production, which means it's going to be using port 4000. And now we can see there's our hello world JSON message. Now that we know it's working, let's go ahead and close out the application. It can be very tedious to start and stop your application using node index.js, and hitting Control C to cancel it. So that's why we downloaded Nodemon globally. So let's open up our package.json. Now inside of the scripts object, let's create a new script, and we're going to call it dev, and we're going to set the node environment to be development, and we're going to use Nodemon index.js. So that's going to run our application in the development environment, and then it's going to use Nodemon to watch for any saves that we make to our application. And whenever we do save it, it's going to restart our application for us so that we don't have to keep stopping and restarting it ourselves. And then also we want to do this for production. So let's create another called prod. And here we can just do Nodemon index.js. And since we didn't set a node environment, it's going to automatically run in production for us. Now let's save package.json, go back into our terminal, and we'll do npm run dev. So it's going to run this command for us. We'll hit enter. You can see that it starts with Nodemon. And if we look back at Chrome, if we were to access localhost 3000, because we're running in development environment, you can see we have our message hello world right there. Now if we go back to our index.js file, let's change hello world to say nice to meet you. We're going to save this, and you can see that Nodemon automatically restarted our application, so that if we go back and refresh, we now see our new message. And just to confirm, let's stop that Nodemon application there, and let's just do npm run prod. You can see that Nodemon is going to be starting in production for us. So if we change our port to 4000, you can see there's our nice to meet you message. All right, so now that we know that Express is working, let's go ahead and move forward to start creating some routes.